Welcome back to Que Pasa Nashville. My name is Cristina Allen, and we're having a conversation about what Nashville's going to look like in 25 years. My guest is Tifinie Capehart and Brenda Diaz with the Metro Planning Department, but also initiating the community outreach for Nashville Next, kind of like where we're going to be. And as we were talking earlier, you know, we have a 300,000 population growth within Nashville area, a million within Middle Tennessee 10 county area, which means more people, more traffic, more opportunity, more challenges. So, like I said earlier, you have done, I've seen your outreach, your meetings all over Nashville, notices everywhere, especially, you know, within the Hispanic community, because that is going to be, that's an aha moment to me when I saw that projection. So let's talk about population and it relates to diversity. What is Nashville Next seeing?
Okay, so I do want to emphasize to the viewers that in the next 25 years the Hispanic population is going to grow leaps and bounds. So by 2040 our population split will be 30% Caucasian or white, 30% African American, and about 30% Hispanic Latino, and then give or take for other nationalities and ethnicities in there. But when you think about that,
and we have this chart, this population diversity, where we were in 1980 and where we are in 2040, and you could see the green, which is the Caucasian, is you know, obviously reduced, and everything else is growing in terms of the yellow mean Hispanics. So that's pretty significant.
It is pretty significant, and I think that, you know, for me it was an aha moment, and when we did focus groups with the Tennessee Latin American Chamber of Commerce, with Conexión Americas, and folks in the Latino community want the same thing, and a lot of things that people talked about was transit. They said in the countries that we come from, the transit system is so much better than it's here.
And affordable housing has also been the top, you know, one of the biggest priorities for everybody, and it's definitely one of the things that everybody really needs. Also, like I mentioned before, ensuring opportunity for all with the transit opportunities, having affordable housing near those transit-oriented developments.
So it has to be, it has to coincide.
Definitely.
But you had mentioned in our break about it, you know, what they want and what the trends are. What do you mean by that?
Right. So the way that the projections that we've reviewed and the information, the research that, you know, the way that it's trending, the input that we've gathered has been really coinciding with what we've seen as the research is, you know, developed. But what we mean by that is that people want to live close to a walkable area, walkable community, and that's really what the trends have been telling us, that we should be developing in an area where they can walk to transit, they can walk to school, and that's really what Nashvillians want.
So we're looking like, and I just example, like a Lennox Village, where everything is self-sufficient right there, more little mini communities within Nashville, so that the food and the schools and everything is kind of like right there, and if you really need to go out, you can get in your car, but otherwise you can walk.
And the perfect example of that is the Plaza Mariachi. If you think about the Nolensville Road corridor, you know, the city and community members around there have really branded it as kind of our international corridor.
Correct.
And if folks that live around that corridor really think about, okay, I can walk to Plaza Mariachi, I can walk to my favorite restaurant, I can walk to the Walmart, I can walk to a bus stop on. That's the environment that you know, Nashville Next wants to create for communities.
Okay, so let's take that as an example, and that's a new mixed-use development on Nolensville Road. We've had them on the air. Just talk about that. The zoo's doing a $10 million renovation. Southern Hills has done so much out there. Walmart's there. Okay, so as we know, because of the school population, the diverse statistics of that, of the population, we know. How do like Metro Planning or Metro Transit or Metro Codes catch up? Because there are no crosswalks, there are no sidewalks, and if people know these trends, why are, you know, sometimes you're trying to make sure they're prepared for it, because all those neighborhoods along Harding, they walk everywhere, and they're very diverse. There's an Egyptian community in apartment, there's Somalis, there's Hispanic, and they walk, and there's no sidewalks. So obviously this will reinforce the priority of needs with our Metro budget. Is that safe to say?
That is very safe to say, and I'll start and then Brenda can jump in. But the Preferred Future identifies these centers, and what we've done with these we were calling them Tier 1 centers, but they're basically priority places where we say, okay, we want to create this place that's walkable, that has the services and amenities. And so rather than just kind of like throwing the dice with our public investment dollars, let's really target that money so that we can get the sidewalks in there, we can get the new bus stops, we can, you know, really,
reflect, right?
yeah, really push that money into that place so that all the investments are coordinated.
That's right. And like she said, really coordinating with the development and supporting that development and creating more of a healthier, safer environment for everyone to use that center. And Plaza Mariachi is in one of those centers. It's a Tier 1 center, and that whole area there. So I think
needs to be looked at as a revised and upgraded.
And it'll be supported
with that. Okay, so let's say this report, and what are the next steps for this report coming out? Where are you in that status?
So we have been doing outreach for the last, 2 or 3 years, and we finally have a draft plan that people can review. We are hosting 4 different community meetings around the city. So the first big one is on April the 18th. It's on a Saturday from 10 to 1:30 at the TSU downtown campus.
Okay.
So folks can come there, speak with planners like me and Brenda, and then really get an understanding of what Nashville Next is all about. We'll have information there about housing, about the transportation system, about arts and culture, anything, education and youth. We'll also have information there about the community plans. And so if folks live in the South Nashville area, they can come and talk with the planner about, what's planned for South Nashville, what is my neighborhood.
So when you say what is
vision.
planned, this report goes to all the direct reports to the mayor to talk about projections and put a strategic plan based on this information?
Yeah, so the planning department will use this on a day-to-day basis to make decisions about development. So like for instance, I'll keep using Plaza Mariachi. If that were to come in and needed any type of review, we would use that plan to say, hey, this is a center where we say we want to see more growth, and this project is really in line with that vision. Or similarly, or conversely, a project is not in line with that vision. So we use it like that. But then we also use it to make decisions about public investment. So where do we want to put sidewalks? Where do we want to put new schools? Where do we need to put other public investments? And so this really is the community's plan, because once people understand that this guides the buildings that they see popping up, then they can use it that way.
So who else uses this besides Metro Planning and Metro departments? I mean, do developers want to know this information?
Developers want to know, schools.
I mean, that's a great report.
Yeah, developers want to know, schools want to know, community organizations want to know. For instance, Conexión Americas, they worked very hard to get the multilingual stop sign and bus stop right there, because they understand too that Nolensville Road is a transit corridor, and so people of all different ethnicities and backgrounds will be using the bus there, and so it was important to get a crosswalk, but that all came out of, we understand that the future plan for this area is X, and so we need to do something that way.
And so as we're kind of wrapping up, what other areas are projected growth beside the southeast area? I mean, is there like or who's losing growth? I mean, population.
Well, we have many types of centers. We have the Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, and they all have different coordinated systems of priority and how Metro will support and invest in those centers.
So Tier 1 would be more population growth, Tier 3 would be less population.
Right. So we have many around different parts of all over Davidson County. So based on what we have projected for what type of growth or how much we'll be growing there, that's how we've designated what tier it is. So we have many Tier 1s, and then we have other Tier 2s.
But you can also, like a Tier 3, meaning population is leaving, you can also prepare the housing, and the schools can prepare that they might have to have smaller schools. And so there's the challenges of something without the population there.
Right.
Yeah, and even with the tiers, it's just looking at one. We started with our community plans, just to think about, okay, over the years, this is where people have said that they want to see more growth occur. In addition, we've also looked at population growth, like the Southeast Davidson County
amazing,
is
yes.
fast growing, and so Hickory Hollow and Harding and all those kind of places are Tier 1 centers, whereas
So more attention.
yeah,
In a way,
yeah,
so.
yeah, but the entire county will get attention
Right.
in terms of
Perfect.
you know making sure that we have sidewalks and you know those
Yes.
types of things.
But
But in
it
terms
makes
of
sense.
coordinated investment, those
Well,
places.
this has been very, very exciting, and I thank you very much for being on the show.
you
And
for
I want you to
having
come
us.
back to continue to give us updates. We have Tifinie Capehart, Brenda Diaz, both with Metro Planning Department and with Nashville Next. Thank you for joining Que Pasa Nashville. Join us each week as we talk about the opportunities and challenges Latinos bring to Middle Tennessee and let you know what's going on. Gracias.